My name is Lilia, Rosas, as I mentioned, and I am the caretaker of Resistencia Bookstore. And so as I often describe, Resistencia Bookstore is the house, right? And out of it, we have Red 7 Arts, which is all our programming. And so we are a Chicano, Chicana, Latino, Latina, Native American-centered cultural arts organization. And by cultural arts, we mean cultural and art expression in all its shapes and form: poetry, film, written, spoken word, dance, theatrical, and anything else that can come with the imagination of an individual that is probably larger and brighter than me. And so we like to support that from that center, but that doesn't mean we haven't always had our allies, our bridges, and our coalitions. And so historically, we've worked with organizations such as, actually, am I moving too fast into what we do? Okay. We've worked with organizations such as ALGO, which is a queer people of color organization, been around probably about as long as we have, as well as Alma de Mujer, which is an indigenous women's organization. And incidentally, when we moved, now a lot of the folks on this land we have worked with historically. So Poder is an environmental justice organization that works to eradicate specifically environmental racism in all shapes and forms. We sometimes work with Lupe Arte, which works with children, and it is Latinas Unidas para el Arte, and they have summer programming, and that means Latina Women United for the Art. And so they work a lot with younger folks, with children, and we work with Latinitas. Often they do field trips here, because it's important for people to see what a people of color centered space looks like, at least this version of it. And what we invite people to consider is that this is just the beginning, never the end. And what we show here is actually what you see in our walls is our story. Everything here is part of something. A lot of times people come here and ask if any of this artwork is for sale. And it isn't. It's been part of a struggle in how we empower ourselves and create liberation and healing for ourselves. And I think I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is LaKiza. My brother Larry Jackson was killed by APD July 26th of 2013. So, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
So the story about my brother, he went to the Benchmark Bank on July 26th of 2013. He attempted to open the door to the bank. The bank had been robbed that morning. My brother went to the bank in the afternoon. After the first attempt, he left and came back and tried to open the door again. The bank manager came out and stated that, asked Larry, what did he need? So she went back inside and told the detective that was working the robbery that Larry misidentified himself. So the detective came out and started questioning Larry for about 2 or 3 minutes. And I don't know if you all have seen the video on the news, but it shows a video of Larry running away from the cop. He chases Larry. He loses Larry, but then he commandeers a civilian car and he catches up to Larry, and they end up under the Shoal Creek Bridge. And under the Shoal Creek Bridge, this detective, he pistol whipped Larry. He beat him so bad that he had a torn colon, he had broken ribs, and multiple other injuries. And then he executed him with 1 shot to the back of his neck. The group that I'm here to represent tonight is called the People's Task Force, and this group has been very instrumental. It's a grassroots organization for police accountability. We are currently working on my brother's case. This is the first case that we've ever taken on. In May of 2014, we were able to get this cop indicted. It's the first indictment in Travis County in over a decade. So the detective and his maneuvers trying to get out of the murder of my brother, his attorney filed a motion in the federal court for the case to be moved to federal court. And we just found out last week that the case will be moved to federal court, which is a bad thing for us because now the judge can just dismiss all charges against him. So the People's Task Force and our family, we are fighting to try to make this cop be accountable for what he did. Like all the cops that have been killing young black men and women and other minorities. And also, there's a, well, it's not that many flyers, but if you go to the People's Task Force, there's a Facebook page and there's also a web page. But another family that was killed, another young man that was killed in Austin by the police, Nathaniel Sanders, he was killed in 2009. His family is organizing a March for Justice on May 30th. We will be leaving from Gibbons Park at, it starts at 9, and they're going to have some talks from 9 to 10. And then we're going to march to Walnut Creek Apartments, which is where Nathaniel lost his life. So right now we're working on promoting this march. And then after this march, we're going to have other events. So if you just go to the People's Task Force Facebook page, you'll see all the events. And please come out and help us build this movement in Austin, because it's not, it doesn't only happen in Ferguson or Baltimore or New York. It happens right here in Austin. And like I tell everybody, do not be the next. You never know when you're gonna be next. I'll put it that way. Thank you.
Like I said, my name is Amanda Johnston. I'm here on behalf of Black Poets Speak Out. It is an organization of Black poets and allies who came together after the non-indictment of Darren Wilson and the murder of Mike Brown. We use videos online to share poems by Black poets that speaks to police violence, Black life, and the struggles that unfortunately are not new. As LaKiza was saying, this could be anywhere, this could be any time. There's poems shared by contemporary poets from today. There's original poems. There's poems shared from Black Arts Movement, poems shared from the Harlem Renaissance, poems shared from before that, from Phyllis Wheatley, from before that, from lesser known poets speaking out against the attack on Black lives that this country continues to support. We're also speaking as citizens. We are not just poets and isolated in our box of academia or writing or words and rhetoric. We live here. We are Black citizens in the United States, and one of the first things I thought about when seeing all of these murders here at home and across the country was how many Black poets had to endure and suffer some sort of harassment to get to this reading. To get to a reading, to get to school, to get to teach that class, to show up to work that day. These poems are not just manifesting from the air, they're coming from lived experiences, either observed, or witnessed, or experienced firsthand. And so what do we do with that? So Black Poets Speak Out is a way that we push that information out forward, raise awareness, but more importantly, call to action. And that's why it was important to have this panel afterwards, so that this is a discussion. We're telling you about our information, but we also want to hear, after when we do the Q&A, what can you do? How can we come to where you are? How can you bring people to where we are? Because this really needs to change. It's about gathering resources and power to figure out what we can do to make actual relevant change now. I don't want it to feel good, I want it to be good. I don't want it to look good, I want it to be good. So all of you showing up today is a testament that I'm not in that alone. So thank you all for coming.
I'm Florinda Bryant. I'm here representing, I'm going to go Salvage Vanguard.
Yes, yes.
I'm representing 2 ally organizations, one of which is Creative Action. I'm one of the earlier starting artists that helped create what is now one of the largest arts education organizations in Central Texas. And I thought it was really important to mention Creative Action in this space because we come as allies with 2 very important things that I want you all to know. Is we come with space. We have a brand new facility that's off of MLK. It's right in the heart of the neighborhood. It has classroom space, it has meeting space. It is something that is available to other organizations and communities, so I don't know how many people know this. So please always know if you need a place to house your writing workshops, your dance, whatever it is that you're trying to do in the community. That is one of the reasons why we have that building, is that it is there as a resource. So please let us know if you ever want to talk about that. Secondly is sustainability. As artists, we all know how hard it is to survive in this oh so cheap place called Austin. It is to live, right? So Creative Action employs probably about close to 50 teaching artists that are able to sustain themselves by working in either our after-school programs, working in our daytime residencies. We have touring shows. There's 9 different casts of actor teachers that are touring across the city of Austin, working with young people from kindergarten up through 8th grade on different topics, be it conflict resolution. We have how to be a courageous bystander, how to create courageous communities, which is basically teaching them how to be little activists, including our middle school program, which is about sexual harassment. Natalie Goodnow is actually the director of that program, and she oversees that. So she's also another person that you can contact if you're interested in daytime work. But those are really the 2 things that I wanted to kind of come and represent. And there is a third thing. We work with lots of communities of color, our children, the babies. Sure would be nice if they could see some of us in the classroom. And we are constantly looking for artists of color. It is very important to us to be able to provide these opportunities. We're very lucky to have Tanya Laus on our staff. Yes, thank you, Ms. Tanya. And we always can use more, even if it's not something that you can commit to in terms of working as a teaching artist. We have amazing volunteer opportunities. We've just started doing programming with our seniors, which is a 65 and up writing and art class. And they are mostly, and by mostly I mean all, I think women of color. And so even if you just have a couple of hours for our community events, please just come over, hang out with us, share in the babies' lives, and let us know if you need some space. I would also like to give a little shout out right now to Salvage Vanguard Theater, which I am a board member of, and also one of their core artists there. And they are also a space that is always open and excited and wanting to be of use in the community. And so it's there as a resource. So I just wanted to say that.
And that's the first location where Black Poets Speak Out Austin was held. So thank you very much for that, Florinda.